Because if you missed a workout, the tongue lashing and the trash talking Michael would talk to you at practice that next morning, you're better off making it to the workout and not having to hear his mouth than to show up at practice knowing you missed the workout. Michael was like, hey, I hired you. I trust you. I don't want this to be my focus. Just if I question you, make sure you have an answer. Don't guess. If you don't know, go ask somebody and figure it out. Michael paid the price all the time. Every single practice, every single off day, every single game.
Michael was straight up about it. He said, hey, I hired you, I trust you. He wasn't looking for babysitting or praise. He didn't want his life dissected or his ego stroked. He made one thing clear: I don't want this to be my focus. If I question you, you better have an answer. That was the deal from day one. No games, no excuses, no soft talk. And that mindset explains why what Tim Grover just revealed about Michael Jordan flips the whole conversation upside down. The man who trained Jordan for 15 years just blew up one of the most famous myths in sports history. The so-called flu game was never the flu at all. It was food poisoning, and that's just the surface of what Grover has been willing to say publicly since The Last Dance dropped. This isn't nostalgia. This is the raw blueprint behind a legend.
One person, he found the letter in somebody else's locker, gave it to the athletic trainer and said, hey, find out what this kid's about. Lesson learned. The best of the best always are looking to get better. You know, give me 30 days, let's see what happens. And 30 days turned into 15 years. Because if you missed a workout, the tongue lashing and the trash talking Michael would talk to you at practice that next morning, you're better off making it to the workout and not having to hear his mouth than to show up at practice knowing you missed the workout.
For over 30 years, Tim Grover wasn't just training athletes. He was inside their heads. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwyane Wade, Charles Barkley. These weren't casual gym clients. These were killers chasing dominance. Grover founded Attack Athletics, a massive 60,000 square foot training facility in Chicago with 4 full NBA regulation courts. He also wrote 2 New York Times bestsellers breaking down the psychology of winning. But none of that is the real flex. The real flex is this: he's the only person alive who truly understands how a monster gets built. According to Grover, almost everything fans believe about what made Jordan great is off the mark. Talent? Plenty of guys had that. Work ethic? Others worked hard too. Competitiveness? The league was full of dogs. What separated Jordan was something way darker and way more extreme. He was willing to burn everything to the ground, including himself, for one goal only: winning, no balance, no comfort, no safety net. Here's the part nobody likes to talk about. Jordan wasn't unstoppable because he was gifted. He was unstoppable because he had zero limits on what he'd sacrifice. Relationships, peace, his own body, his own sanity. All of it was expendable if it meant a win. That mindset didn't come from highlight reels. It came from pain. Go back to 1989. Grover is a young trainer watching Jordan get bullied by the Detroit Pistons. Physically dominated, pushed around, frustrated. Grover doesn't tweet about it. He doesn't complain. He writes letters, 14 of them, to Bulls players. 14! He doesn't even send one to Jordan because he assumes the best player on the planet won't mess with some unknown trainer. But fate had other plans. Jordan finds one of those letters sitting in a teammate's locker. He reads it. 30 days later, Grover is training the most obsessive athlete the sport has ever seen. That one moment turns into 15 years of nonstop work. No breaks, no coasting, no mercy. From day one, Grover knew this wasn't a normal human. Jordan never asked for a day off, not once. Win or loss, good game or bad night, the next morning he was in the gym before the sun came up, before teammates, before trainers, before excuses even existed. This wasn't discipline, this was obsession on a whole different level.
He was known as one of the biggest trash talkers out there, but he didn't trash talk to get into the opponent's head. He would trash talk to get into his own head, because now whatever he said, he had to go out and back it up. So if he went and told you, I'm gonna give you 50, that wasn't to put pressure on the opponent. That was to put pressure on himself to say, now I've said this, I have to deliver.
3 workouts a day, no shortcuts, no distractions, no breaks. Workout, golf, workout, lunch, golf again. Another workout, dinner, bed, repeat. every single day of the off-season like clockwork. No commercials, no promo tours, no parties, no showing up just to be seen, just pure grind, discipline, and obsession locked in tight. Now here's where things get uncomfortable, because this is when the story crosses into dark territory. During one playoff run, after a brutal overtime game where bodies were wrecked and legs were screaming, the team shows up for practice. Everyone's dragging, everyone's hurting. Jordan looks around and notices Scott Burrell is missing. He hears Burrell is in the training room getting treatment for a tight hamstring. Jordan storms in, sees Burrell laid out on the table, and completely loses it. He flips the table with Burrell still on it and snaps, "I just played 48 minutes last night. Everything hurts. You got a hamstring? Get to practice now." That wasn't motivation. That wasn't leadership. That was straight psychological pressure meant to break people or force them to level up. This lines up perfectly with what Sam Smith exposed in the Jordan rules, where teammates admitted they feared Jordan's anger more than losing games. That fear shaped the locker room. It kept everyone on edge, and Jordan wanted it that way. Grover once took Jordan to an FBI training facility, and what they saw stuck with him forever. A sniper was practicing alone on a 400-yard range, 4 football fields away. The sniper had to drive to the target, set it up, drive back, fire one shot, then drive all the way back to check the result. One shot, no margin for error. Perfect bullseye! Jordan asked how many people were allowed to use that range. The sniper replied, "Just me." Jordan smiled instantly because he understood it completely. That isolation, that obsession, that comfort with being alone while everyone else stays far away. That's what Grover calls the dark side. Every elite performer has it. That raw, aggressive instinct most people bury deep inside. Jordan didn't bury his. He sharpened it and turned it into a weapon. Take the Derek Martin incident. 4th quarter, Jordan only has 10 points. A Memphis player, Derek Martin, starts talking trash. Big mistake. Jordan literally stops mid-game, looks straight at him, shakes his head, and says, "Let a sleeping dog lie." That was the warning. From there, Jordan flips into what Grover calls attack mode. 19 points in the quarter, game over, Bulls win. Martin rides the bench the rest of the night, probably replaying that moment in his head over and over. And Jordan didn't save that intensity just for opponents. His teammates got it even worse. He once told Grover he didn't want anyone else training with him because it dulled his edge. Think about that. He wanted exclusive access to pressure, pain, and progress. When Dennis Rodman joined the Bulls in 1995, Jordan instantly recognized another master of mental warfare. Different style, same darkness. And when Jordan finally recommended Kobe Bryant to Grover, it wasn't random. He saw the same fire, the same obsession, the same dangerous focus staring back at him. About that famous flu game, Game 5 of the 1997 NBA Finals, the one everyone calls heroic, iconic, untouchable. Michael Jordan supposedly dragged himself onto the floor sick, weak, barely standing, and still dropped 38 points in one of the most legendary performances ever. Except here's the truth nobody wanted to say out loud. It was never the flu.
I don't pay Grover to train me. I pay him not to train anybody else. For the relationship and the work ethic that MJ saw in Kobe, he said this would be a perfect fit. And he said this is a perfect guy for you because he's not a yes person. He's not a starstruck individual. He's as messed up as you are in the head, just like I'm as messed up as my clients are. All right, Kobe wanted to know every single detail. He wanted to know why the reps, why you were doing this exercise, why we're working out at this particular time, why am I eating this? He wanted to know every single detail. Why would I change the order of stuff? Just that. Michael was like, hey, I hired you, I trust you, I don't want this to be my focus. Just if I question you, make sure you have an answer. Don't guess. If you don't know, go ask somebody and figure it out.
Tim Grover finally told the real story years later. And once you hear it, the whole myth cracks wide open. Back in Utah, late at night, the team ordered pizza to Jordan's hotel room. Nothing fancy, just pizza. But something felt off immediately. 5 guys showed up to deliver a single pizza. 5. Grover had a bad feeling from the jump. Everyone in the room passed on eating it. Everyone except Jordan. At around 2 a.m., Jordan ate the whole thing. Hours later, Grover gets the call no trainer ever wants. Jordan is curled up, completely wrecked, barely able to move. No energy, no strength, food poisoning, no debate, 100%. But here's the thing, Flu game sounds legendary. Food poisoning game sounds messy. So history chose the cleaner story. Even Jordan's most iconic moment was built on a lie, and Grover admits it openly. But here's what really separates Jordan from everybody else, and it has nothing to do with what he ate that night. According to Grover, most players live by rules. They have boundaries, lines they refuse to cross. Jordan had none. Once he decided something had to happen, everything else stopped mattering. Morality became irrelevant. Feelings became irrelevant. Relationships became irrelevant. Winning was the only language he spoke. Grover breaks elite athletes into 3 categories: coolers, closers, and cleaners. Coolers are role players. They do their job, stay in their lane, keep things steady. Closers are stars. They show up when it matters and deliver in big moments. But cleaners are built different. They don't just want to win. They need to wipe out everything in front of them. No mercy, no satisfaction, no off switch. Jordan was the ultimate cleaner. And that mindset didn't just elevate him, it tore him apart internally. There was no balance, no peace, just constant pressure and internal fire that never shut down. Now look at today's league, and it's the complete opposite of everything Jordan respected. Players prioritize friendships over competition. They team up instead of hunting each other. They care more about being liked than being feared. That soft mentality is exactly what Grover warns destroys greatness. When Grover started training Kobe Bryant in 2007, the contrast was immediate. Kobe had the same darkness, but he processed it differently. Kobe wanted to understand everything. Why this drill? Why these reps? He studied the process like a scientist. He questioned, he analyzed, he absorbed. Jordan didn't ask why. He didn't need explanations. He just needed results. That difference tells you everything about how rare Jordan truly was. Jordan was different, period. His attitude was simple and ruthless. I hired you to do a job. Get me results. I don't need to know why. No explanations, no theory, no feelings involved, just output and dominance every single time. Even Kobe Bryant, as relentless as he was, couldn't fully match Jordan's ability to shut everything off. Grover explains that Jordan knew exactly when enough was enough. When it was time to rest, he could actually power down his body and relax. Kobe couldn't do that. If Kobe couldn't sleep, he saw it as wasted time and went straight to the gym. Jordan understood recovery as a weapon, not a weakness. And the numbers back up how unreal his run was. A 30.1 career scoring average, the highest the NBA has ever seen. 14 All-Star selections, 6 championships. And here's the wildest part. Jordan scored 20 or more points in every single finals game he ever played. Only him and Rick Barry even appear in that conversation, and Jordan did it across 35 finals games. That level of consistency isn't normal. It's unnatural.
He knew there was a price that needed to pay for winning, and everybody knows you got to pay a price for winning, but most people aren't willing to pay it. They may pay it once, but literally you got to pay it every single day. And the crazy part about that is the price changes daily. Just like the stock market goes up and down, the price of winning changes on a daily basis. Receiving the information is free. There's no cost to that. The price comes in is what you do with that information, and most people just aren't willing to pay the price, or they're not willing to pay the price long enough. Michael paid the price all the time. Every single practice, every single off day, every single game.
But those numbers don't show the real cost. They don't show what that mindset takes from a person. Jordan's life after basketball tells the other side of the story. A brutal public split. A Hall of Fame speech soaked in bitterness toward anyone who ever doubted him, and years of running the Charlotte franchise into the ground with the same unforgiving mentality that once made him great. In 1993, Jordan lost his father, James Jordan, and that moment cracked something open inside him. It created a massive emotional hole, and instead of filling it with healing or peace, Jordan poured more competitive rage into it. That isolation got even deeper. The fire burned hotter, but it burned inward too. ESPN writer Wright Thompson once described visiting a 50-year-old Jordan and finding him alone in a training room, face down, gripping a basketball, overwhelmed by emotion. That image says more than any stat ever could. That's the price of being what Grover calls a cleaner. That same dark side that made Jordan unstoppable for 15 years never learned how to shut off. When the opponents disappeared, when the arenas went quiet, That rage had nowhere to go. Grover saw this coming long before Jordan retired. He knew that true greatness demands everything: your relationships, your peace of mind, your ability to live normally. Jordan made his choice. He chose greatness over happiness, and he got exactly what he signed up for. That's why Grover's revelations in The Last Dance and later interviews actually matter. They strip away the fairy tale. Jordan wasn't just talented, he wasn't just disciplined. He was willing to become something almost inhuman to achieve something impossible. He turned himself into a psychological weapon, and like every weapon, he was dangerous to everything around him, including himself. Today's NBA celebrates player empowerment and mental health awareness, and that's not a bad thing. But make no mistake, Jordan would have laughed at both concepts. His world ran on fear, pressure, and total domination, and nobody paid a higher price for winning than Michael Jordan. He believed in one brutal principle and never moved off it for a second: make everyone else compete with you, but never compete with anyone else. The standard was his, not mutual, not flexible, not negotiable. If you couldn't handle the pressure, the pace, or the expectations, life around him was going to be miserable, and that was your problem, not his. Grover makes this clear: the cleaner mentality is not built for most people, and it never will be. Most people value their relationships too much. They value their peace of mind. They value being liked, being balanced, being human, and there's nothing wrong with that. But cleaners don't operate there. They give that stuff up willingly and without regret. For the rare individuals who can tap into their dark side and aim it with precision, the results speak loud. Jordan broke every rule in the book. He ate steak before games while everyone else was stacking carbs. He trained on game days when every expert said rest. He showed up for workouts the morning after games when his body was screaming to slow down. On paper, he did everything wrong. According to textbooks, trainers, and conventional wisdom, it made no sense. According to results, it worked flawlessly. That's the uncomfortable truth people don't want to sit with. Michael Jordan wasn't just better because he had more talent. He was better because he was more willing to give something up that others refused to touch. He sacrificed comfort. He sacrificed softness. He sacrificed parts of his humanity in exchange for excellence, and he never looked back. Grover spent 35 years studying the gap between good and unstoppable. His conclusion is simple and unsettling. Cleaners aren't just people who worked harder or wanted it more. They are psychological outliers, people who refuse to accept limits that everyone else treats as facts. Jordan proved that reaching the highest level of success demands the deepest level of commitment. Not motivation, not inspiration. Commitment so extreme it scares normal people away. Greatness isn't just about what you're willing to do. It's about what you're willing to become. And according to the man who watched this up close for 15 years, what Jordan became was both incredible and terrifying at the same time. He was the greatest winner basketball has ever seen, and he was also a warning sign, a living example of what happens when refusing to lose becomes the core of who you are. That's the real story behind the legend. Not clean, not comfortable, not meant for everyone. Just raw proof that winning at the highest level always comes with a price, and Jordan paid it in full.